So about 10 years ago, I was invited to a party by a colleague in San Francisco during an industry conference. She asked me to meet her at the party, and as anyone who knew me back then could tell you, I was way too socially anxious to go to a party where I didn't know anybody, but because she was going to be there with me, I reluctantly accepted the invite. So later that evening, I get dressed up, hail a cab, and show up at the reception area where the party's being held. I'm greeted by a couple of really nice ladies who check to see if I'm on the list, and then they hand me a name badge that they asked me to put on the lapel of my jacket. I take the elevator to the 11th floor where the party was being hosted and make my way into a room full of hundreds of people I'd never met before. Before anybody could make eye contact with me, I quickly pulled out my phone out of my pocket, and then I saw it. A text from my friend saying that she had gotten food poisoning and wasn't going to be able to make it to the event. I started to feel droplets of sweat forming around my temples. I turned to look up, and all I could see was clusters of people who were already deeply engaged in conversations. Not a single person looking up to notice I was even there. And then finally, a friendly face from one of the clusters closest to me looks at me and smiles, and I think, okay, here's my chance. And so I start walking towards that friendly face. And as I'm doing that, my heart starts to beat through my chest as if it were trying to escape a burning house. And then the voices in my head start screaming, "What are you doing, man? They don't want you to talk to them." And so right as I'm approaching the friendly face, I divert and walk right past her and the group she was with. Having missed my opportunity, I race towards the exit and head back to my hotel to sulk in yet another failed social interaction. Approach anxiety can be a debilitating condition. And as this story shows, I've struggled mightily with it. And so do millions of other people around the world. But can it be cured? Absolutely. My name is Nomi Malik, and you're watching Socially Charismatic. Our bodies have evolved to create feelings or emotions based on the information they receive from our brains. Think about it. When we were cavemen and we came into contact with a bear, our brains sent information to our bodies that went something like this.
Oh my God, I'm going to be killed by a bear!
And our caveman bodies appropriately responded to that information by creating the exact chemical compound needed to generate the feeling of fear, which in turn triggered our bodies to run. So in a way, our body and mind connection evolved over time in this way for our survival. Our brain sends signals of information, or thoughts, to our bodies every day, and consequently our bodies react. This is what creates our state of being, or how we experience the world. So if the thoughts our bodies receive from our brain are negative, what kinds of feelings or emotions will our bodies create? Well, probably feelings like sadness, anger, resentment, emptiness, and lack. But the opposite is also true. When our brains send positive thoughts to our bodies create feelings like happiness, joy, gratitude, fulfillment, and abundance. You know, the interesting thing is that the body has no way of knowing whether or not the information it's getting from the brain is based on something that's actually happening right now, or something that's happened in the past, or even something that's going to happen in the future. The body will create the same emotional response regardless. So it's really no wonder that we feel so much anxiety all the time. We feel anxiety well before a social event, and then again right as the social event is unfolding. And that's exactly what happened to me at the party nearly 10 years ago. I had so many negative thoughts running through my mind before I even got there that by the time I arrived, my body had created all sorts of debilitating emotions. You know, it's no wonder that I aborted the situation so easily. But my body did its job that day. All those negative thoughts I was having forced my body to generate feelings of sadness and lack before I ever even got into that cab. Not the best state to be in before heading to a party where you don't know anybody. So if our body and mind have such a profound impact on how we show up in our experiences, how can we get both into a better state before social events? In the same way that our bodies react adversely when we think negative thoughts, sending a rush of positive thoughts can create an opposite and much more rewarding effect. Tony Robbins refers to this process as priming, and it's something you should do before you participate in any social interaction going forward. Priming is an exercise that can be done either through physical movement, through writing, or through visualization. I tend to prefer visualization over writing or physical movement, but any of those work well. For the sake of this video, I want to walk you through how to do this with a visualization. Now, before I get into the visualization, I like to start with a loving kindness gratitude meditation, which is basically designed to fill our minds with thoughts of gratitude for ourselves and others around us. In other words, it helps to foster positive thoughts. To do this, I disconnect from all my devices, find a quiet room, sit comfortably, and then slowly repeat, "May I be happy? May I be healthy? May I be filled with peace." You know, oftentimes we don't spend enough time sending loving kindness to ourselves. And so when we think of future events where we'd like to connect with others, our view of ourselves and those thoughts is often negative. Doing this loving kindness meditation before a visualization exercise, to me, is one of the keys to having success with the visualization exercise. Once I finish the loving kindness meditation, I spend the next 10 minutes doing the actual visualization. So if you were to do this exercise, think about an upcoming social event and start having a very detailed vision of how it's going to go. Everything from the smell of the room you'll be in, to the sounds you'll hear, to what you'll be wearing, to who you'll be with, and most importantly, how you'll be feeling. Imagine yourself being completely relaxed in this environment. You're not worried about what anyone's thinking. You're not judging what's going on or how it's going. You're just there and you're having a great time. Imagine yourself laughing and others laughing with you. Associate as much positive emotion as you possibly can to this event. In fact, the more detail you can include in your visualization, the more positive emotion you'll be able to associate to it. Repeat this visualization as many times as you can before the actual event until you feel positive emotions when you think about it. That's it, guys. If you've done this visualization correctly, then when the event actually occurs, your body will recall the positive emotions you've associated to the event, and you'll show up in a much happier and relaxed state, which in turn will lead to a much more positive social experience. Listen, if you've enjoyed this video, please click the subscribe button to check out more content from Socially Charismatic. Don't forget to click on the little bell icon to be notified anytime I release a new video. And as always, thanks for watching, and I hope this video was able to help you out. And I will see you next time.